Well, welcome to Voices of Women. I'm your host, Chris Stanis, and also the founder of Women of Wisdom. We are going into our 30th year, and we're so excited about this conference coming up March 24th through the 27th. We have fabulous conference where people come together and witness each other, and women share their stories. So check it out at womenofwisdom.org. Our special guests this year is Rianne Eisler and Cynthia James, and with lots of experiential workshops. 2.5 hours long, so we really allow people to go into depth. We also have a community board where people can interact. It's all online, so you can be there in your home. You can be there in your pajamas for all we care, but you can enjoy meeting people from all over the US and even from other parts of the world. So we hope that you will check it out. We have a guest today is Karin Olsen, and she is giving a workshop on psychic protection and hygiene. She's a healer, a seer, and a teacher. She's been a massage therapist for over 25 years. She's been studying plants for more than 20 years, owning an herb shop. Also, she teaches classes on earth-based spirituality through Moonhill Mystery School in the Salish Sea area. She recently earned a Master's of Ecopsychology from Naropa University. Her website is moonhillmysteryschool.com. And welcome, Karin.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be here.
Yeah, so share with us how you first recognized your gifts as a psychic intuitive.
So in my late teens, maybe 18 or 19, my mom and I used to do palm reading as kind of like a party gag almost. When we would have friends over, we would pretend to read people's palms. And what we noticed started happening was that people started recognizing that we were seeing and hearing things that we wouldn't know how those things happen. Like, for instance, my mom was reading someone's palm and she said to them, "Wow, it looks like you didn't meet your family until you were about 8 years old." And their jaw dropped on the floor and they said, "Oh my God, I was adopted when I was 8 years old." And so from those experiences, we discovered that we had this intuitive gift. Thankfully, I had a very supportive family, and they were encouraged intuitive kind of skills. And so the more we did it, the more we realized that we had this gift. And so we just continued to cultivate it. And I feel really lucky to have been able to kind of discover it in that very casual way.
Yeah, well, that's great, because a lot of what people aren't supported in that, or their voices are kind of shut down. And, the mothers will say, "Oh, you don't talk about that. You didn't see anything." And here you had a mother that she also saw things. and so you grew up with that. That's great. And I'm struck how we all see differently. And one of the things, and I'm thinking even probably in your class of teaching people the different ways you can see, because some people, when you say see, people think, oh, and there are people who see with their eyes, like they actually see just like we're looking out, on our eyes. And many of us sense in different ways. And so we have to learn and honor the ways that we see things. Like, I'm clairsentient, so I will feel it. Sometimes I see things, but it's so easy to say, "Oh, I don't see because I don't see like other people who really have vision and see." And so we really have to honor and learn what our gifts are.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so accurate, I think, because we even describe it that way of like, I had a vision, and it might not actually be a visual experience. Like you said, you're clairsentient. Some people even are clairaudient, and they hear messages. And so, yeah, there's lots of ways to get that information. And I really believe that everybody is psychic, that everyone has the ability to develop this skill. And I really notice with myself that in times in my life when I've set it down to be able to do other kinds of work, that when I pick it back up again, it's a little rusty and a little hard to, the information doesn't come as smoothly or as quickly. It takes a little bit of, I feel like I kind of have to get back on the horse a little bit. And so it's been really lovely. We sold our herb store in 2019, and I've been able to really focus on doing intuitive psychic medium work over these last couple of years, and I've really loved having that be my focus, and teaching, of course. So it's been quite
Yeah,
lovely.
that's great. So your workshop topic is psychic protection and hygiene. So let's talk about that. Why the need for psychic protection?
So, part of this class came about from owning the herb shop, and that we'd get people coming in frantic and saying, "I need psychic protection, help me!" And so I realized through that business that was something that people felt like it was a skill that they didn't feel as though they had, or they didn't understand how to work with that. And so as I kind of dove into the idea and the thinking around psychic skills, psychic protection, psychic hygiene, I developed this course that I've been teaching for probably 8 years now. And I like to say that we need psychic protection for people, places, and thoughts and things. And so for ourselves, it can feel like an energy clearing, like when you get muddied and you feel like you're weighed down and the weight of the world is on you. That can be like a psychic overload. And I think people often don't understand the signs that could lead them to maybe caring for themselves differently through this kind of psychic protection avenue.
Yeah, and recognizing you take on energy from other people. So if you don't realize that you're like a sponge, and then you go into a party, you're feeling great, and then all of a sudden you feel bad. Why? It wasn't you. You're
Right.
picking up somebody else's negative energy, and it's theirs, not your. You don't have to take it on, and you have to learn how to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I really am a strong advocate of practices, of finding things that work for you and then using them frequently. And whether that's in a first aid manner, where you're like the kind of party scene where you go to this event and you leave going, oh my gosh, I just feel like someone took all the stuffing out of me, or the air, all my air's gone, in that kind of emergency, or maybe not emergency situation, but instant situation. And then also doing it as part of a regular practice, like at the end of your week, when you take off your work clothes, like how do you let go of the trials and tribulations of, connected to people that maybe are suffering or struggling, and how do you lay that down so that you're not taking that into your own world?
Right, right. And it is practice, and it's learning, recognizing that it's not you, or maybe it is you, but dealing then with the feelings and where is it coming from and dealing with it. So how about then hygiene? The psychic hygiene. So that's sort of a new thought. Haven't heard that expressed that way before.
Yeah, so that's that kind of regular practice piece. So the more that we keep our own energy field clear, the stronger we are. So it gives us more resilience. It gives us more ability to bounce back when things do get sticky or uncomfortable or overwhelming. And particularly, I feel like there's a lot of people who are empaths or identify as empaths. And folks that are empaths often can get really bogged down with the energetic landscape around them. And so by having some regular practices, some things that you do, just as kind of unconsciously as brushing your teeth, maybe you do some kind of clearing, psychic clearing or psychic hygiene that helps you care for yourself, so that you don't get that kind of stack up of overwhelm. Because there can be that place where you feel like, I cannot take any more, I am done. And so trying to lower that level so that you're doing more of a frequent sweep, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Well, is there one tool you can share today about keeping your energetic system clear?
Yeah, I can. One of part of my degree that you had mentioned before, I just recently got my master's in ecopsychology. And one of the things that ecopsychology um, speaks to is how our mental health is impacted by nature. And walking outside can be also psychically clearing. And so walking in the woods or walking on a trail, or even just, even though the weather isn't perfect this time of year, but even just taking off your shoes and walking along a grassy area can literally change the negative and positive ions that are in your body by just walking on the grass. And so that can help clear some of that kind of energetic clutter that gets clean to us. So I'd say a walk in the woods would be an easy psychic hygiene. Thinking of it in those terms, could be really clearing.
Yeah, nature's great that way. And also it's grounding. I mean,
Yeah,
that helps you too,
sure.
taking care of yourself, of getting grounded. So, yeah, we don't do much barefoot walking at this time of year, but if you're tempted, it could be helpful. But even just thinking of, the energy can come through your shoes to your feet and
It's
ground
true.
yourself. So, tell us about the Moonhill Mystery School.
So Moonhill Mystery School, I'm super lucky, and through my master's program, I was able to really kind of birth the plan for Moonhill Mystery School. So as part of my master's thesis, I was able to kind of create the foundation of Moonhill Mystery School. And so the idea is that it's a place for earth-based spirituality, um, and a school of enlightenment. So a place for you to help develop your own personal earth-based spiritual practices. So it's not a particular what is the word? It's not a particular genre of spirituality. It's not one path. It's really a place where all paths are welcome. It's a focus on non-Abrahamic religions, which our culture is deeply infiltrated with lots of ways in which Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, is that the right word? Are Abrahamic religions, and there's lots of ways that those religions are really supported in our society. And so I wanted a place where people who were not practicing those religions, were practicing more earth-based religions, had a place of support and connection and to learn from one another. The environment is really a co-learning environment. I don't suggest that I know all the answers. I really want to kind of grow and develop with other people, but I help create the space for courses and classes that can enliven and enlighten and activate your spiritual side. That's the kind of focus of Moonhill Mystery School. There's more I could tell you about, but
Yeah, well, people could go to your website and check that out, and also check, come to Women of Wisdom for your workshop and learn more about you and about that. Another question, that, sometimes people feel their space is haunted, and or at least, they might feel a uncomfortable energy in their home or whatever. And how do you teach them to deal with that?
yeah, that's a great question. I've done house clearings for years, and so that's been a kind of beloved way to serve my community. And that goes along those lines of psychic clearing and kind of helping create a clear energetic space to be in. And so that's another place where like the hygiene plays a role, in that this is not typically a one and done situation. So oftentimes it's something that needs to be maintained, and that you want to continually clear a space. And there's lots of ways of clearing space. You might even be doing this and not actually know that that's what you were doing. So for many, many years before the internet and before I have had read as many books as I've read. When it was New Year's, and my family did this as well, so we would bring pots and pans out and we would bang on them to make all this racket and noise at the change of the new year. And one of the things that does is it actually clears a space. So it is energetically clearing, maybe not quite as joyfully and sweetly as a singing bowl does. But it creates that vibrational change in the environment, which can clear the space. So certainly using a beautiful singing bowl or some bells are another way to clear a space when you feel like there might be some ghosties hanging out in the corner or whatever. So noise or sound is a great way to clear space. I know it's common also for people to use sage as a space clearer. And I really like to encourage people to speak of it as smoke cleansing as opposed to smudging, because smudging is a Native American term. And so smoke cleansing is cross-cultural. Many cultures around the world use plants burned with the smoke to clear a space. And so that's another option for people to use. I really like to encourage people also to work outside the realm of sage and leave that white sage as not the primary way to clear space, because rosemary, lavender, mugwort all work wonderfully as burned plant material to help clear space.
Yeah, and many people, especially around here in the Northwest, have lavender or rosemary, those plants. I do, so love the scent of them. Well, when you were talking about I just thought of mothers getting the pots and pans out for the kids to go banging around and give them permission to be loud and noisy.
Right.
Might drive you crazy, but maybe it drives the energy out of the house.
Right.
Fun. Okay, so one question I'm asking everybody is how the theme, which I forgot to mention, fits into your workshop. And our theme is celebrating our sacred pearls, nourishing the waters of the feminine.
Yes. So I would say celebrating our sacred pearls are those that kind of idea that everybody has the ability to be psychic. I think that that's a sacred pearl. And by developing that and coaxing that out into the world more, we're kind of using skills that are part of us already. And the second part was nourishing the sacred waters.
Nourishing the waters of the feminine.
The waters of the feminine. Yeah. Well, the divine feminine is definitely coming full force into the world. And I'm so grateful for your organization, Chris. I have mentioned to you before that 20 years ago, I attended Women of Wisdom for the first time. And I'm so lucky for this. I feel so lucky that we have this your organization to share so much great wisdom and such a wide variety of people. I think if there's any celebrating the sacred feminine, it is definitely being expressed through this conference. And I'm so grateful that you're able to bring all these women together to share their amazing, wonderful gifts. And I think anyone who has a chance to go to this conference is going to be deeply fulfilled by all the opportunity that's available. So I'm grateful to you for that.
Yes, thank you. Well, it is a place for women to gather. And, one of the things is a place where women can share their stories. And that can happen in all the workshops. There's a place where women share their stories. And with that comes healing. And, so yeah, it's a great place to be. And even online. Last year was the first time because of COVID that we were online. And it still was intimate and life-changing and community building and meeting great friends, making new friends, seeing old friends. And for the first time, because it was online, more people from other states. So it was great we create the breakout rooms. In every workshop, there's breakout rooms. So you can be in a little circle of 4 or 5 people sharing. And often they're from different states, and it's great. So I encourage everybody to check it out at womanofwisdom.org, and also check out Karin's website, moonhillmysteryschool.com. So thank you so much, Karin, for being here and for sharing your gifts at the conference this year.
Well, I'm so happy to be invited and so excited to be a part of this really lovely event. I think the online ability is going to be really lovely because so many people who may have not been able to make it up to Seattle are going to be able to have access to it. So I think the accessibility aspect of that is just fabulous.
Yes, that's great. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.